The doors aren't going to open today at all when the sun comes up, and that's going to catch a lot of people off guard. This is certainly one of those days that a lot of people hoped was avoidable, but the sad reality is when the money dries up, the doors have to close.
First I was like, well, it's just going to be closed for at least a month, but then she said it was going to be closed. My sister told me it was going to be closed longer, so I was like, wow, I've been going here so long. This is like part of my family now, and it's gone.
You know, you might not know this, but the Boys and Girls Clubs are run by the Salvation Army, and they serve about 2,500 kids and families in the area. Each club costs $250,000 to $300,000 every year. Much of that relies on donations, and the reality is those donations simply aren't what they used to be.
All right, so my name is Mia Thompson. I am a sophomore at the University of Kentucky. I'm a dual degree major, majoring in family sciences and community leadership and development with a minor in African American studies. My entire life there's been cops that just sit around from the time your middle school and elementary school is getting out of school to midnight. They will just sit in certain parts of my neighborhood and around the parks. Because I live close to Shawnee Park and I live close to Chickasaw Park. And there are cops that just will sit on Broadway or sit at the park, parking structures inside of Shawnee Park and just wait to see any criminal activity. So speeding, and missing a stop sign, anything, they're already there. They're already there to criminalize you. So it's like, even though they're there, you still see crime around it. Like growing up, I had my mom and dad give me the talk about police officers, about making sure you're more respectful, making sure that you don't do anything to and criminalize yourself as well as make them not like you and make them fearful of you. Because that's the real problem. The real problem is it's not really a question on whether I've been scared of cops or not. It's always been the question of whether or not I scare the cops. So I was only home to sleep or only home to play baseball at the park when I would play baseball in the summer leagues. But it wasn't like she just let me roam the neighborhood when I was little. I had to get until 7th, 8th, 9th grade to just start roaming the neighborhood freely with my neighborhood friends. All of my friends would live in different parts of town, so my mom would drive me to those schools or to those neighborhoods because they were friends from school. I wasn't until started going to the local Boys and Girls Club. I went to Portland Boys and Girls Club. That was far, Portland's right next to my neighborhood. So going to there, and then I went to the Boys and Girls Club in Park Duval as well. So me starting to grow out of my shell, she started having to allow me to be outside more. The Portland Boys and Girls Club. Yeah, as soon as I went to high school, it got shut down. So that was really hard because a lot of the girls from my brother's age, my brother is 2 years older than me, and I'm 20, so he's 23. So from the girls that were in the age group of 23 to my age group of 20, there was about 17, 18 of us. Right now, it was a ripple, I don't want to say it was a ripple effect after the Boys and Girls Club changed, because I think there was 2 girls that got pregnant before the Boys and Girls Club closed. But after the Boys and Girls Club closed, the kids had nowhere else to go. Their parents wasn't looking for another place to put them in. They were starting to get older. You see, I was in high school by that time. A lot of us were in high school at that time. The kids didn't want to, we didn't want to go anywhere other than the Boys and Girls Club, and it closed. So that means that we had people that thought that they were young adults outside trying to make money, trying to do things, and trying to be grown adults. So when you're introduced to sex and things like that, there's only 2 of us out of that group of 17, 18 that don't have kids right now. There's only 4 of us that actually went to college. So it was hard seeing all those girls they were just losing themselves, and it's not like we weren't taught sex education. It wasn't like we weren't provided those resources. It was just they were so scared, I guess, to tell their parents that they were sexually active, and they just didn't want to get on things like that. Sometimes in certain families, you can't ask for that. You can't ask, hey, Mom, can I get on birth control? You can't ask, hey, Mom, can you take me to the gynecologist? You can't ask those type of things because it's supposed to be hush-hush and you're not supposed to do it. Or kids are lying to their parents, no, I'm still a virgin. And guys started sweet-talking them. They were not in the Boys and Girls Club anymore. They were home. They were more accessible. Their parents weren't home. That's why most people go to the Boys and Girls Club, because their parents will still be at work. Their parents will come pick you up once they get off work. which is right around the time the Boys and Girls Club closes, around like 7, 8, sometimes even 9 o'clock. So from that time they getting out of high school, 2:20 to 9 o'clock, you're free. Like, so without that parent supervision, without that idea that none of us are we're all supposed to be somewhere doing our homework, things like that, having a central location where we had provided resources. Like there was an art room, there was a game room, there was the gym, there was a TV room, there was a computer room, there was a library inside there. Like there was so many different places where kids could just go and thrive and be kids. And we just had fun, you know, being around like the same people you're around for years, having fun, playing games. Like usually once you go to the Boys and Girls Club, people stay there. Like you end up being a part of the Boys and Girls Club family. So we had fashion shows for like Mother's Day and things like that. Then they also had a summer camp in the summer. So like not only would I be there as a supplement after school every day, I would be there in the summer during like summertime as my summer camp. So like I was around the same group of people for years, completely getting to know them, completely like seeing them as family. When you see a significant amount of people who felt like the only people that cared about them were those teachers inside the Boys and Girls Club or was those staff members, and you go from seeing them since 5th grade and 6th grade every day to not seeing them at all, having no clue where they are, not really staying in contact with them. Like everyone spread up and spread out after the Boys and Girls Club closed. Different people got different jobs and people moved on with their lives like they're supposed to. But those kids needed that support, and that support that was there was like they were fulfilling something that some people's families are not. Some people's families could not fulfill. We had a family, we were a family at the Boys and Girls Club, and then it got tore apart, and people's life decisions were based on that. So yeah. None of us wanted the Boys and Girls Club to close. Salvation Army said they couldn't afford it anymore, and they couldn't pay for it, and they couldn't find anyone else to sponsor them, so it got closed. But that place, like that closing, affected all of us. It affected a lot of the kids. Some of the guys are dead now. Some of the guys are locked up now. Some of the girls are locked up now. They're people that have kids now. Like, that was a place that all of us went to just be kids. And without that, we had to grow up a little bit faster. So, like, I've seen people my entire life been locked up for different things, or go to, like, that juvenile boys camp, or go to, like, a JCYC, things like that. Like, it's normal now. Unfortunately, from the ages of, like, 6th and 7th grade, I've seen people be locked up. So, like, now it's nothing new to hear someone's locked up. And then I know my freshman year of college, within, I think, the first 2-3 months of college, over 10 people in Louisville got assassinated. Like, well, not assassinated, but murdered. And, like, it was just news. And these were all people that I went to middle school with, or people I went to high school with, or people I went to summer camps with, people from my neighborhood. It was like people that I knew, period. And that I had been knowing throughout my entire development, and to see that their lives were just lost, and like a lot of those cases never got solved. Everyone has a story. Everyone has a struggle, and everyone has something that they are going through, no matter the ethnicity, no matter the gender, no matter who they are as a person. Everyone has something that they've had to overcome. Everyone has faced adversity. And I'm not going to allow my adversities or anyone else's adversities to define the future I'm going to have for myself.
Well, my name is Jamilah Feliciano. I'm 21 years old, from Louisville, Kentucky. I have a daughter, Sanaya. She's 5. It's my world. I'm really heavy on work and school. And I'm just trying to elevate in the world the way I see fit. Kids can walk 5 or more. That's a game. Police will pull them over. Black, white, Asian, doesn't matter. That's the West End. You live in the West End, you're treated like the West End. So you walking 5 or more, that you're targeted. You and your 4, 6, 7 friends could go to the Boys and Girls Club and do the same thing you know about to do. Oh, we were just walking to go play basketball. There's a basketball room up there. Oh, we just walking to the library now. There's books. There's computers. You know, oh, we just want to chill. We don't know what to do because we ain't got nothing to do. There's TVs upstairs. I mean, our childhood wasn't no, rainbows and unicorns, but it's it's completely different now. And I think if the Boys and Girls Club was back open, they have, you know, more advantages, more stuff. Plus, you know, things has changed. It's been what, like over 10 years. Like this has been a while, but there's memories that you can't forget. That was like the second home. Like that was everywhere. I walked 10 blocks to get there every morning. 5, 6 years old, me and my little cousin. We would walk and we'd get on the bus there, went to school, got off at school, wouldn't leave there till about 9, 10. We're the last people to leave. Like that was the childhood. Like now kids don't have that, but like we always had somewhere to go. We were safe, we were straight, we were fed. If you need some clothes, they give you clothes. If you need, you know, you mess up your shoes playing kickball, you know, they'll have some shoes for you. Miss Lowe or my cousin Robin, they would bring some food. They'll cook for us. Like if it's Thanksgiving, they'll have like on the little menu of stuff they were supposed to cook, like old turkey and this and that. But they would bring us some real turkey. They would bring us real cranberry sauce. They would make us, you know, make us everything. You know, if you didn't have nothing, you know, like little stuff like that. Christmas time, we always had little functions. We did have a couple of family functions, but not a lot. And around Christmas time, they would always, you know, bake a lot of cakes and stuff like that. We had the little box lunches with the little square juice, and we had those, but those was like field trips or summertime, and you know, that's what it did. Upstairs, like all the way upstairs, we used to have like the electric skillet and the crock pot, have the windows open. They used to make breakfast up there sometimes, and yeah, they cooked a lot. They made sure, you know, even if it was like little stuff, you know, like cutting up some veggies for some soup, you know, like, yeah. They like, I don't want no soup, but everybody's eating this soup just because everybody helped. First, it was construction. They told us construction. And we always got stuff fixed, so we didn't think nothing of it. Then after like a week, it's like, it's closed. They're like, what do you mean it's closed? Like, we didn't get no heads up. We didn't get no, like, hey, I know it's gonna be closed, and didn't refer us to another Boys and Girls Club. And I'm like, that was crazy. That's where I know a lot of kids, like, they had more time on their hands. And they, with people they weren't supposed to be, and, you know, like, stuff happens, and they're either dead, in jail, or out of town trying to get away from this, you know. Oh no, I got pregnant after. All of that happened within like 6 months of the Boys and Girls Club closing. I don't say it was because, you know, but, you know, it was just like looking back, it's like, in the sequence of events, if I was at the Boys and Girls Club, then I wouldn't have been, you know, like, just little stuff like that. But my dad got deported, and then I ended up getting pregnant. And then I was just like, I lost my job. And I was just like, everything, like, what is going on here? And it was because I was so much, like, I was just worried about what's going on here instead of, how do I fix this? Or what's the next step? I've had my hard moments, but I don't think it was hard. I was homeless when I was pregnant for a month, and it felt like forever. I didn't eat for 4 days one time. Then when I finally did eat, I threw it all up. I would sleep for like 2-3 days, and all this happened within the first 4 months. And then after that, then I was fine. Like, I don't know, like, even no matter how sick I was, I still went to, you know, I still played basketball, so I couldn't have been that sick. You know, like, I would always just keep it going. You know, it took me like that was like a tough year, but it kind of carried on until it, like, you know, time does heal wounds. It may, I mean, I don't say about all, but it heals slowly, very slowly. But I mean, everyone has those moments, but you just gotta get out of them. I just wish they open it back up, or open up something like it, you know, because I swear, I just know, like, I'm very good at predicting the future. Like, and I know things would be way different, and different in a good way, way better, if these kids had somewhere to go. You know, there's way too much free time, and this is not the time, like, not time of day, but moment in time where this is not for the kids to be out past a certain time, or if they are, they need to be supervised by an adult. Or now it's not, and now they're like, oh, why these kids doing this? They have too much time. The Boys and Girls Club gave it was a stress reliever and a vacation.
My name is Tony Goodwin. I was the director of the Portland Boys and Girls Club 14 years. I worked with the Salvation Army Boys and Girls Clubs for 20 years. Started out part-time and moved on up. It was just a joy. I've got 2 biological kids, and I like to say I have over 1,500 other kids. And I run into them everywhere and anywhere, and they remember everything. The last day that we were there was a Friday, and I said, we'll be back Monday. I just had it in my heart that we were gonna be back Monday. And we cleaned the building like we would any other day. I didn't want them to have to deal with it. I'm a protector, and I didn't want them to have to go through it until the very end. I think I might have told them like 2 weeks before when we definitively got the answer that we were going to close. As far as my kids, I don't know where they went. Occasionally I'll see one somewhere, or I might see something on Facebook every once in a while. But I don't know where my kids went. They're going to stay at home, get in trouble. Oh, it's boring at home, so they're going to hit the street. Kids are going to, and I hate to say it, kids are going to be kids. I mean, I think we did a lot of the same mischievous things. I do think it's gotten a little bit more dangerous for them, though. And so the mischievous turns into, retaliation, or, something else. And I mean, that's kind of what I'm thinking. And I'm trying to remember everything. It's been a lot of years at this point. Statistically, crime goes down generally in a mile to 2 mile radius around a Boys and Girls Club. It's no longer there. So statistically, what's going to happen? So I love the Portland neighborhood. We would get volunteers all the time, a lot from U of L or from other places, and inevitably I would hear the same story every time. One of the students would say they told somebody they're going to Portland, and people would say, "You're going to Portland?" And after they were there, they were like, "Oh, it's not so bad after all." There was always issues, like any other neighborhood. It did seem like we would get the bad end of the news. If there was something that happened in Portland, it would be negative, and the news, I would feel, twisted that way. But it's like any other neighborhood. It honestly was. I wish I could say the same thing now, and maybe it is because when I see it on the news, it is in that negative light, and I'm not in it anymore. But I do honestly believe that with the club closing, there's no place for the kids to go. The kids knew. I mean, we were a positive place for kids. That's what we were. And the kids knew it. And it didn't matter if they were in a gang or not. When they came to the club, they knew what we expected out of them. And they did it. We made it the home away from home, honestly, is what we did. I would go out of my way to make sure the kids had something to do. If the kids were out of school because of snow, if I could make it in, the club would be open. I would go pick up the staff and drive them to work during snow days. So yeah, the quasi-parent for them, the support that they needed to grow up. We had a lot of kids go through a lot of issues, of course, like any other teenager or any other child, and we were there to support them. We did turn our focus a lot towards education, and I firmly believe that some of these kids wouldn't have made it close to where they did if we didn't force them, sometimes pretty kicking and biting and fighting, but we made them get their homework done. I had one little girl that refused to bring homework home. I would drive to the school to get her homework, to make sure that she had her homework. They kept me young. They kept me on my toes. And then other times they would just bring such joy and such happiness and surprise the bejeebers out of me with some of the things they would say, and just their humor and their truthfulness and their honesty. And I think that's one of the things that really made Portland what it was, is we were there and it wasn't a job. It was not a job, and we didn't go there for a job. And the kids knew that. They could feel it. They sensed it. And they kept us honest about it. If I had the opportunity to open Portland again, if I could bring in my same staff, I would do it in a heartbeat. In a heartbeat. And I think a lot of my kids would come back. I love you guys. I miss y'all. Find me, and I'll find you guys eventually.
Okay, my name is Torrace Lowe, and I worked for the Boys and Girls Club in 2011. I was there for approximately 19 years before they shut down. I have worked at several Boys and Girls Club. The first Boys and Girls Club I worked at was at the Salvation Army Duval Boys and Girls Club. And I worked on a grant. And the grant that I worked under, it mostly was for people that had kids and low income. And so they hired me on. And once I was hired on at the Boys and Girls Club, I became a part of lots of kids' life. I told the kids, the Boys and Girls Club closed because it was lack of funding for the Salvation Army. We tried everything for funding, to get fundings, and we didn't believe that it was going to close. And so I told the kids that, don't worry, we're going to be open back up, which I believe it was going to be open back up, but it didn't happen. Even when the news people came and said that we was closed, today was going to be our last day. In our head, we didn't believe it was. But we lost lots of kids. We wonder where they went. And I was so proud, you know. They kept in touch with me on Facebook. All of the children, it's like, Miss Lowe, will you be my friend? Will you be my friend? So basically, I know where Franklin went to, but we lost some doing deaf. You know, they went the wrong way. But we had taught them a lot. We was teaching them self-esteem, how to handle the world. And I really think if it was a Boys and Girls Club like I was still out there, that all of the stuff that the kids are doing today, I really don't think they would, because they don't have no place to go. The kids, you had different kids that started selling drugs, something that you would never thought they would do. The neighborhood kind of went down. No, it went all the way down after the Boys and Girls Club closed. Break-ins, you're seeing lots of fights, pregnancy. The kids that we thought would graduate, they went to prison. Some went for rape, murder, you know. We kept up with them, you know, like if I see one across the news, I would call Tony or call Robin and say, did you see that? You know, it was just, and we keep asking ourselves, what could we have done to keep it open? What we did with the teens and the youth was we actually asked them. We would have like a group session. What y'all want to do? What you want to see done? And we made it more like it was their club, and they telling us what they want in their club. in some kind of way, the staff made it happen. So it made them become whole. It's like, okay, we're gonna get this, you know. I would say I'm so proud of them. The ones that really, it's hard to say, because the kids that you really thought that was not listening to you, and you see the way they became. I'm gonna take my granddaughter for example, Sky. It hurt my heart to know my grandbaby. We sitting here teaching sex education. We doing all of this, and bam, my grandbaby is pregnant. So it really hurt me. So in my heart, I'm like, and I talked to her, I said, people looking at you, you have to set an example. I said, because you're my child. And people looking at you, you pregnant. You know, I was so hard on her. And she was telling me how hard I was on her. But when she graduated, when she walked down that aisle, and her child was a year and a half old. And just seeing her grab her child and say, I did it, I did it, you know. And the joy on her face holding her child, I did this, Mama, I did it. And, you know, because I kept beating, she said, I know you thought I was going to drop out. And for her to hold that diploma, and she was so proud of that diploma, that I'm talking, it was just joy for me. And so she's scared away. I end up with her child, but she's getting back on track again. But just seeing that, hey, it shows that even though she was pregnant, had a baby, she didn't drop out of school. She kept fighting until she never failed. Me and Tony was there. I'm talking about the whole Boys and Girls Club, even when she was pregnant, when she had her baby. It's amazing. We was all there. I'm talking about at delivery, we was there when she had her child. And so that's when I said we was such a family. It's like everybody stopped what they doing. It was at night, called everybody up. And, you know, it just was, I don't know, it was just, that club was special. I don't know if it was the staff or the children, but we put our heart in that club. It's a club where it was a job to me where you don't mind going to work. You'll get up, oh, gotta go to work. You'll go in extra, you know, and it was special. It just make you happy. It was a home away from home. It was really, I'm talking the kids became yours. It was a special club. It's like it was magic in this club. Not only for the youth, it was for the staff as well. Because it was just full of love. And we was just a family.
As a matter of fact, in 2042, we're supposed to come together. There's a time capsule out front, and we're supposed to be digging that up in 2042. So, October something or other.
Do you plan to do it?
As long as it's not cemented over, and whoever owns the building, I guess.